Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing great. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a brand new collection released by Navitus PERFUMES. This is a collection that was exclusive to the Middle East for a short period of time. Now it is available on the brand's website. A lot of my subscribers got the newsletter, so they were curious about it. I've gotten a few requests to review it. Thank you so much for your patience regarding it. So in today's video, I'm going to be letting you know about these 5 new fragrances, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I tell you all about these 5 brand new fragrances, brand new releases by Navitus PERFUMES, give you my quick thoughts on them, let you know how they performed on my skin, what are the most dominant notes in my opinion, so on and so forth. I do want to start things off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel, and I upload on a daily basis. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you took something of value from today's episode. Would really mean a lot to me. So those of you who have been following Navitus PERFUMES for the past 3 years or so, since the brand's founding, would know that I worked on a bunch of releases. I am the founding creative director. We've also had fragrance releases from Buck Moore, who is Big Beard Business, Darian, who is Bowtie Fragrance Guy, Monica Choch, so on and so forth. Here we have 5 fragrances that were released independently of the brand. There is no, YouTube fragrance reviewer or other personality attached to these. These were just released by the brand with the CEO's creative direction, basically. And here we have 5 really unique and really interesting fragrances to sort of end the year off on the right foot. And all of these are 125 milliliters, and they do retail for $245. And so there's always promotions and deals going on the website, but these are strongly concentrated, extrait de parfum concentration, of course, which is standard for Navitus PERFUMES. And they all have this really beautiful wooden piano box presentation with the cloth on top, the Navitus PERFUMES logo on the cloth, on, the sleeve and everything. It's really, really luxurious, and I'm hoping you have the opportunity to see it in person should you decide to purchase one of these. Now, there's a lot of different fragrances here, different personalities, different auras, if you will. So I'm going to be going over them, and I'm going to let you know what notes really jump out at me, what kind of a vibe I get from each one, if I can compare it to anything. I want to break that down for you as best as I could. But let's go ahead and start things off with the first one, which is Paradis Exotique. So of course these do have French names, and the name of this one translates to exotic paradise. This one was composed by Olaf Larsson. That's the perfumer who worked on this particular composition. And as you can imagine by the color of the bottle and also the name and the vibe that the name gives across, this is going to be one of the freshest offerings in the bunch. You have Calabrian bergamot, Sicilian mandarin, grapefruit, and Indian ginger in the opening, very bright, sparkling, and effervescent. You also have rose orchid, jasmine, Tahitian, ylang-ylang in the heart, so that comprises the floral bouquet of the fragrance. In the base, you have a touch of Madagascan vanilla, not too much. This isn't a sweet fragrance by any means. Tonka sandalwood and Virginian cedarwood. This fragrance does open up rather fresh. You get a lot of that sort of lemon bergamot combination in the opening with a touch of ginger in there as well. It's very bright, very refreshing, and as the name suggests, it does remind you of being on a tropical island, on this sort of utopic paradise where you're just lounging and relaxing. Maybe you have a drink in your hand and you're just enjoying life. It's a very relaxing, tropical, easygoing, compliment-getting type of a fragrance. When you think of fragrances that will get you compliments, this is precisely the DNA that a lot of people expect. I think this is definitely for fans of Soleil Matin by Navitus PERFUMES. If you like Soleil Matin, that's sort of a ginger citrus combination. This gives you a similar vibe to it, but it does have this exotic floral bouquet in the heart that gives it a lot of personality. I think this is definitely the easiest to wear from this new collection. Perfectly unisex. Some people might argue it leans a little bit masculine, but I don't think so. I think the ylang-ylang, the orchid, and the rose kind of gives it enough of that unisex personality, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. Definitely one that I see myself wearing to work quite often because it does convey a sort of professional, albeit lighthearted demeanor. The next one is Luxe Absolu. This is interesting. So this one translates to absolute luxury. Now, I do have the cards here that are included on the inside of every single presentation of Navitus Parfum fragrances. This one is composed by Jorge Lee. Jorge Lee is an amazing perfumer based out of Istanbul, Turkey. He has worked on fragrances for Algabra, Unique Luxury, Nishane, Istanbul, the list goes on and on. Now, this fragrance is described as being opulent, imperial, and majestic. That it is. This smells like not $1,000, it smells like $1,000,000. It smells like a Raja or a Sultan or a prince or just somebody in power. It smells very opulent. It has that grandeur about it. So this opens up with a combination of ginger and saffron. Now the saffron is there and it kind of adds like this leathery touch to the fragrance. In the heart you have Turkish rose and Italian orris. In the base you have Laotian oud, amber, New Caledonian sandalwood, Madagascan vanilla, leather, and oak moss, although the leather really is coming from the saffron if I'm being honest. You get the oud in here. So it's oud, rose, saffron, and some other woods. And basically it gives it this sort of exotic vibe, very expensive, very rich, very mysterious. If you want to convey this majestic aura, this opulence about yourself, this is the fragrance to do that. Luxe Absolu is possibly one of the richest, most expensive smelling fragrances that the brand has to offer. I know there were a few others like Oud Luxuria and Oud Imperium kind of convey this opulent nature about them as well, but there's just something about this one. It smells like a boss, it smells like a CEO, it smells like a king or a prince, if I'm being honest with you. It's a very, very expensive smelling fragrance. We also have Nuit Royale, and this is beautiful. This has a touch of sweetness to it. So I really enjoy that sweetness. It smells a bit fruity as well. And this one is described as being rich, mysterious, and enigmatic. I think it also is a little playful. It definitely conveys this rich and mysterious vibe about it. Composed by Bertrand Duchaufour, based out of Paris, France. This has saffron as well, incense, and Egyptian geranium in the top. You have Moroccan rose, raspberry, and amberwood in the heart. Then you have oud, birch, and benzoin in the base. So this is a warm, ambery fragrance that's not too sweet, but it has a little bit of that fruity opening. You know, a lot of times we think of that saffron berry combination, we think of Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford. This has none of that happening in here, so that's good. But it definitely has that darker, oudy personality, but it doesn't smell animalic. I would say Luxe Absolu, yes. The oud has a tendency of being a little bit on the animalic side. This one, not at all. Very smooth, very clean, very polished, but definitely very playful. This night out sort of flirtatious, sensual fragrance. Absolutely amazing. I see myself wearing this one a lot, especially this time of the year because it is a long-lasting fragrance. I wore Nuit Royale about 3 days ago on the 26th of December, and that fragrance lasted 10 plus hours on my skin, and I only did 4 sprays. So that is a really, really long lasting fragrance, much longer lasting than Paradis Exotique. That fragrance gave me a solid 7 or 8 hours. Luxe Absolu is also going to get you in the vein of 10 hours. The next fragrance is Desir Infini, which translates to infinite desire. Of course, the infinity motif is something that is kind of worked into the logo of the brand, and it's part of the brand's identity at this point. So I'm really happy that they have a fragrance called Desir Infini, Infinite Desire, also composed by Bertrand Duchaufour. This is one of the most unique fragrances I've ever tried. The combination of ingredients, the overall aura that is conveyed, and you know, it's unique but not complex. And that's such an anomaly. It's a little paradoxical in a sense. How can something be unique but not complex? It has red fruits, lemon, and I think the red fruits create this aura of obscurity in the opening. Geranium and saffron. So geranium is very bright, minty, a little on the rosy side. Saffron is very dark and spicy, a little bit on the leathery side. In the base you have oud, leather, smoked wood, and amber. Now, it's very populated in the opening, so that red fruit accord is definitely going to open up with this very genial, warm, easy to wear personality. And you do get a bit of the smoked woods, but it's not overbearing. I know there's another fragrance that I spoke about that has birch tar. That one was perhaps a little bit on the darker side. This one is actually very much so on the fresher side of things. That ambery red fruit accord I think is going to appeal to a lot of people, and it also stands out quite a bit in my opinion. It's a beautifully done composition. Bertrand Duchaufour is a perfumer whose work I've admired for well over a decade now, and he never ceases to amaze me. And the last one is Aura Ultime, and what a fitting name. This is going to be the #1 compliment getter from this collection, perhaps even from the entire line. And I say that knowing that Vivamore does really well in terms of compliments, and I know there are a few others like Away also does really well in terms of compliments. I've gotten a lot of really positive comments on my channel from people saying that it's done really well on their skin, and that makes me very happy. Raised Spirits, I have a coworker who wears it now, 2 coworkers actually. They wanted to support the brand. One of them I actually gifted to her for the holidays. But here we have Aura Ultime. So this fragrance, composed by Jorge Lee, once again, opens up with Mexican lime, Spanish cypress, and Brazilian copaiba balm, Turkish coffee, Indonesian nutmeg, and New Caledonian sandalwood. And then in the base, you have Brazilian guaiac wood, amberwood, cashmere, musk, and oak moss. This fragrance has this incredibly sensual opening. An aspect of this fragrance is very fresh and fruity, and it has this very bright and vibrant opening that catches you right away, and you think to yourself, okay, this is going to be one of those fragrances where there's a lot of emphasis invested into the top notes. It's going to make it a very sensual and agreeable fragrance, and I'm going to be honest with you, the opening is amazing, but when you give it a chance to dry down, the coffee, the resins, that sensual sort of a vanilla, and I don't even remember vanilla being in the note breakdown, but I do get something sweet from it. Perhaps it is the copaiba, which is found in the opening. It has to be the amberwood. Amberwood traditionally has had a sweet vibe to it. Vivamore is another fragrance that has amberwood in it, and that fragrance also kind of gives off a bit of a sweet vanillic vibe in the dry down. This fragrance is the fragrance that is going to get you unrelenting compliments. If you're looking for perhaps a bit of a masculine leaning fragrance from the line, I'd see it being totally unisex if I'm being honest, but I think there's going to be something about that resinous, woodsy vibe that it conveys, but with this bright, fresh, slightly sweet and ambery opening, very juicy, very sensual, and it definitely has this DNA about it that will definitely get you compliments. I really love this one. So far, this is my favorite. I personally do love Nuit Royale. I think that one is great for the nighttime if you're going out to a restaurant, or if you're hanging out at a friend's house, or, you know, just enjoying the evening. I think that's perfect for that. The most work appropriate one is going to be Paradis Exotique. That one is great for, you know, just wearing it to the office, maybe summertime, or you just want to smell very fresh, inviting with the ginger and the citrus. But if you want to convey mystery, sensuality, and you want compliments to flood in, Aura Ultime is the fragrance to do that for you. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you learned something today. Hope you took something of value from this video. I do apologize once more for being a couple weeks late. I know some people saw it on the brand's website and, you know, they were very curious about it, and I really wanted to take my time to fully understand every fragrance and the aura that it conveys, so I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much for that. If you enjoyed this video, or if you took something of value from today's episode, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do put out these daily uploads. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.